My name is MarioNFTBusiness, and with me here I have Christi, a fellow VFriends holder. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for joining me. So let's just jump right in. What got you involved in the NFTs to begin with?
A lot of the VFriends people say this, but Gary V. I started following Gary quite a while ago, listening, watched him start developing these doodles, and I knew he was up to something. And then he started talking about NFTs, and I'd heard a little bit, just kind of here and there, and Ethereum, and it didn't make any sense to me, but I knew these doodles meant something. And then he said sometime in May 2021, and I had really was like, I have to get my hands on one of those doodles because I know it's going to be something. I just didn't know what it was or what the extent of it was. And he started putting out instructions, and the very first instruction that I heard him say was to go, get a MetaMask, do your 50 hours, go get a custodial, a non-custodial. And I just, without doing all the research yet, I knew that I needed to sign up and get a MetaMask, whatever the hell that was, and get a wallet, custodial, non-custodial, and start really diving in deep. And once I got that set up, then all the information and news started rolling out regularly about like what was happening in May. And I started to stash away some cash and eventually buying some Ethereum, and eventually bought my first NFT, which was a VFriend.
That's amazing. That's quite the journey. And what would you say that you used as your primary source of research when you were doing the 50 hours originally?
I don't think I could say it was just one source. I would say it was, all the internet resources. I was on YouTube. I was, Googling my mother. I was Instagram, all TikTok, not very much on TikTok, but really just those platforms and Googling, just search and search and search and search. What in the fuck am I getting myself into? And I still didn't know what the fuck I was getting myself into.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But you knew enough to have, like you said, you had enough conviction to pull the trigger. So that's awesome. And
Yeah.
here we are.
And and almost a year later, well, not quite almost, I would say, probably May, end of May for sure, beginning of June. I got really heavy into Clubhouse, and Clubhouse is where, after I had purchased my first NFT, Clubhouse is really where I learned a lot of information after doing my own digging, with those platforms I previously mentioned.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what made you stay, since it's almost been a year now that you've been involved?
Oh yeah. What made me stay? Everything about it. I could list more reasons why I stayed. I could list very few reasons why I would leave. The community is huge. Community members are huge, and not just in the VFriends community, but all communities that I've submerged myself into. The technology, the opportunities, the ability to really work for myself if I want to. Ways that you can implement it, apply it. There's so many things to this new technology that are just mind-blowing, and it's revolutionary. It's going to change the world and how the world operates. So being part of the cutting edge, if you will, I knew that I was in with, when PayPal and Web 2 came out, when the internet we were dialing up. That's kind of the development of dial-up. Well, we're in the development of what's happening next. And I was just completely blown away that I had the opportunity to learn, and also be surrounded with very supportive, and just the amount of intelligence that my friends have, and they're happy to, invite me in with open arms. So like I said, I could go on and on and on about why I stay.
Yeah.
Really, the biggest reason why I would not is because it's a lot of learning. There's so much information that it's overwhelming, and it gets
Yeah.
a little bit brain melty at times. But I've learned how to regulate that. So
Yep. Yep. That's interesting. Thank you. Like, did you expect, because okay, here, how do I word it? Yeah, it's like, did you expect the community to be so strong, and did you expect the technology to be so exciting? And like when you originally got involved with Gary, did you expect it to be so polling? And then did you, like, at the time, did you think you were going to dive in and buy multiple NFTs, or did you think it was just going to be like that one NFT and you were just going to stay like closed circuit kind of thing? And like, yeah, that's kind of where I was going to ask. Like, what were
yeah,
your original thoughts, like, before, and then like, what were your original thoughts after? Like, well, I guess
yeah.
now.
So diving in, I thought I didn't know that there would be more NFTs to buy. I still didn't really understand what an NFT entirely was, where it's a digital asset. You cannot duplicate it unless it's transferred. So, or, exchanged in some way from wallet to wallet. I didn't know blockchain technology. I didn't understand how it worked. And so I did not have any clue the community was going to be what it is. None whatsoever. I feel so blessed because I honestly, like, I've strived. I'm 41 years old, and I just barely found my tribe, is how it feels. And it's an incredible feeling. Yeah, I can be I could just be myself, and my friends in the communities, they care about me and they accept me. I've never found a community that's like that ever before. So I had no idea that was going to be like that. I thought it was going to be somebody that owned an NFT. I did not know it was going to be cutting edge. I did not know that I was going to be an early adopter. I was going to be like 0.5% of the population. I didn't know I was going to be part of that.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, I had no clue. And once I started realizing the community I was part of, and so welcomed into, not only were they welcoming, but we are like a very small amount of people. So I would go out through my neighborhood or to my grocery stores and walk around and just like be completely mind blown that like I have information that's like people aren't going to know for the next 10 years or 5 years, or just absolutely insane. So I didn't know what an NFT was, so I couldn't say I was or was not going to own another one. I did know that it was going to be an asset. It was going to be an investment that I was going to hold and diamond hands. Didn't even know what diamond hands meant, but I knew I would diamond hands. I knew I would hodl and just kind of hide it. And like that's my little nugget of gold, for the future. But in hindsight, I would not do. I don't think I would do anything differently.
That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
And how many NFTs would you say roughly that you own now? No,
Roughly.
yeah, give or take.
Okay, so I own over 150 NFTs now. Not even a year later.
That's so funny. I started from one.
Well, I know your story is so different than mine because of the amount of NFTs that you have had your hands on and flipped out of. It kind of makes me like obviously like stumble on my words, but I have over 150 NFTs. Some of them are spam NFTs that have been airdropped into my wallet. I own a couple that are what I would consider blue chip, aside from VFriends, but not very many. Any of the ones that I would call like what typical people call bags, they're memories, and who knows? I do own some community members NFT projects in my wallet that right now they're just, they don't they're memories. They are supporting community members that I fully believe in. And right now, I don't think I could resell them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't resell them right now, but I do have, I think I believe in their conviction and their passion and their drive. So, and where they're going in their lives. So a lot of, I have a lot of NFTs that some people would consider bags. They don't have necessarily a value like a VFriend or another blue chip NFT, but I guess it's my way of supporting, showing the love.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you never, like you said too, like you never know what's going to happen in the future. And it's like more of like yeah, you're supporting, and you just like you said, you have no interest in selling, so it doesn't even matter if they blow up. That's amazing. Now you own a piece of, and if they don't blow up and they're still like, or if they do something else, like it's still amazing because you still like were there, like you said, the memories and the experiences. Now you mentioned when you were going out in public, it was a little awkward. Is it still awkward now? Like, is it still like, well, not awkward, but like interesting? Is it still like can you talk a little bit
Yes,
about that?
absolutely. So last summer I was doing gig work, gig economy, so deliveries and like Instacart and DoorDash and Uber Eats and just things like that to make a living. I was doing just fine. It was actually really convenient because I had my headphones in and was working the entire time, so I could learn everything from Clubhouse and my friends, all while still making a living. But yeah, I would go around. It was just so strange, and I think a lot of the feelings that I was having was more of, do I understand what I'm thinking about? Like somebody asked me last August, July or August, that I had worked with them previously at a previous job. And they were like, so I see you're posting a whole bunch of things on social media. Like what the hell is NFTs? What does it, what does that even mean? And they were asking, how can you actually apply it to real life? Because this is all make believe, and it's all make believe money. And I was like, yeah, well, so I know how to implement it into a real life business. So it depends on how you want the NFT to be attached to your company. And they were like, I still don't understand. Like, why would an NFT be attached to a baseball team? And I started to explain it, and as they were loading their groceries into their car, and they just like, okay, nice to touch, like completely just like walked away from me.
That's so funny.
And that was like a moment for me to like, because I started to explain it, because then I really knew that I understood what I was hearing and thinking about. And fast forward now, excuse me, I don't feel as not awkward or uncomfortable, or it more like I'm 1000% confident in what I know and in my skin, and walking with confidence that if somebody says, oh, Christi, what's an NFT? I can very clearly define and explain, and also, explain how people can apply it and implement it into their businesses. So it was more, I think, the strange feeling. I still feel like I know something that you don't know. If you want to know it, just talk to me, but you're not going to just randomly talk to me. So that's a random thought, but yeah. But now it's getting a little bit more mainstream, right? So
Yeah.
If somebody approaches me about NFTs, I think, well, I have over 5,000 hours under my belt now. Fuck 50, I've got over 5,000. So
There you go. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's crazy. It adds up. Yeah, I personally had a few public like, yeah, quite a few. And yeah, I would say 9 times out of 10 they are like, yeah, they quickly dismiss you, or it's just like, yeah, I'll look into it, but they, you follow up with them and they're just like, oh, I haven't looked into it yet. It's kind of one of those things. I had a few people tell me, it was like warn me, like, no, it's scary, like it's a fraud, it's a scam, blah blah blah, like because they were just unaware. So that's pretty funny as well. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting where this goes. Now, do you have any advice for new people coming into the space? I know you said research was important and stuff, but now that you've actually been almost a year, um, can you elaborate a little bit more? Like, well, what specifically would you tell new people? I guess.
Yeah, I think I would ask some legitimate questions to start off. What are your goals? What are you looking to do in the NFT space? Are you a creator? Are you a collector? Are you investor? You know, what is your goal moving into this space? Because it is so new that it's very easy for people who are not educated, obviously, do your own research, but you can lose everything if you're not careful. And so I think what I would say is, what are your intentions? What are you looking to gain out of this? And if it really is, they want to invest money, double check. Are you sure if you invest $1,000 and that $1,000 becomes $5 tomorrow because of the market, or because the NFT that you bought or the crypto that you went into, invested into, goes to zero, $1? Are you okay with losing that? It's a gambling situation right now because it's so new. Do your own research. Emotions are a big one. Don't get emotional about it. If you want to make money, and if you want to be like my friend Mario and you want to make money and make a living, take the emotion out of it 100%. Like I was saying earlier about my community NFTs that I own, there's a lot of emotion there because I care about the people who made them. So my V friend, it not only is it an investment financially, but it's also an investment into the community, and that's a huge emotional investment as far as I'm concerned. Some people hold V friends and it really is a monetary, like the emotion is totally taken out of it, but they're also not big members of the community. So
Comes down to your goals, like you were saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that people that are not capable of controlling themselves should take a hard look at what they're doing if they're going to be getting into NFTs this early, because it, like really is, if you have a gambling problem, then I would not advise you get into NFTs because you're probably going to lose your ass.
It's a good point.
Yeah, you have to be really, I think for me, I've had to be very self-aware and just do daily checks on myself and my practices, because I've totally bought into things that like they are my bags and I don't know them. I don't know the creators of them. So yeah, so do your own research, leave the emotions at the door or at the sign button when you connect your wallet, and know what you're getting into.
Yeah, that's a big one.
What's your goal?
Yeah. And then in terms of security, what would you recommend new people in terms of security, since they're hearing all cut? Because when you Google, like as a new person, when you're Googling NFTs, you're seeing a lot of frauds or like scams, right? So that's generally, I think that's one of the first things you see is if you have like a clean slate and you actually search NFTs, it's generally negative. And then sometimes you'll see the big stories like deep pools, like big gains and stuff. So what would you recommend new people in terms of security?
Yeah. Seed phrase, security, seed phrase or secret recovery phrase, I would say needs to be laminated or put into something waterproof and put into your vault or your safe. Fireproof, waterproof, everything safe. Vault or safe, security deposit box, depending on what your method of security for, say, your other investments is. Definitely get a cold storage wallet. I personally have a ledger. Depends on what kind of investments you're going to be doing, what kind of trading you're going to be doing. So that will depend on what size of cold wallet you might want. So again, here comes the Dior, do your own research, because really each individual is different in how they're going to trade and invest. So making sure the cold wallet that you do invest in, Ledger, Trezor, whatever it is going to be compatible with the volume that you trade at. And once you get that cold wallet, use it.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's true though. We've heard many of our fellow community members that are waiting after they purchase it. And now that you've been in this space for, again, close to a year, what do you see coming in like 2 years from now? And since you do also know a little bit of the background as well, like you know that, sorry, a little bit of the history of NFTs as well. So where do you see the space in 2 years from now?
2 years. That's a good question. So far I have not been able to safely or wisely guess or even speculate. All the speculations that I've come up with that are this space on a whole have, some have happened, some have not, but it's so hard to speculate because things change so rapidly, and there's new ways to scam, there's new ways to invest inappropriately. I think the more mainstream it gets, it's going to, it's just,
Do you think it's going to be mainstream in 2 years from now, or at least
partially. So that's such a good question, because with like the big brands like Adidas, I know that Adidas is going to succeed because who is affiliated with them? G Money. G Money knows what he's talking about. He's not a scammer. He's a legit person. And while he may not be entirely doxxed, a lot of people know who he is, and he's successful. I don't foresee G Money running away, not like Beanie, So companies that actually hire or take on or contract with people who know what they're talking about, I think that they could be successful. I think that those kinds of huge companies can be very positively represented at representing the space. But like Budweiser was like on their Twitter, they were like, "Wag me," like to the moon. And anybody that knows what that means knows that they don't have a clue what they're talking about. So they clearly didn't hire a consultant that would keep them in the space currently. They didn't hire a consultant that was boots on the ground. It was more hiring a consultant as like, okay, the logistics, plug us in, let's go.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So I think it depends on who these big companies are hiring to consult with and be, representing them in the NFT space. So, like Budweiser can push their way around because they are so big. They've already wagged me. They've already made it to the moon. But will they last? I think they're going to have to, reassess what they're working with. But who's behind the scenes with the company, I think is going to determine how the space moves forward, being adopted mainstream.
That's a good point.
People like you and I, we could make it mainstream safely and positively, give a positive, look, give a positive, what's the word? We can portray a positive message for big companies like that to represent the space truly what it is. But if people keep getting hired that are not boots on the ground, then we'll see them crash and burn and have to rebrand or rebuild their contracts or do it right.
That's a good.
So in 2 years, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I do think that there will be a lot more mass adoption. I think maybe, we started at like less than 1% of the population. I think maybe in 2 years we'll be at 25, maybe 40 max, just because of all the skepticism.
Makes sense.
Who knows? Could be more.
Yeah.
But
should be interesting. Yeah. Like you said, yeah, it's hard to speculate for sure. Everything's so unpredictable.
yeah.
I think outside of the control, right, can take effect as well. So yeah, it's very interesting. Are you involved in the NFT space Web3 besides investing in the NFTs?
I am. Yeah. Thank you for asking. I'm working on a couple different projects. And I just recently was contracted with POAP.
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So for anybody that's watching doesn't know what POAP is, it's proof of attendance protocol. They are little bookmarks of your life, and they are NFTs that live on the XDAI blockchain. And it's kind of like a ticket stub to an event that you've attended to, but on the blockchain. So, and it's a free NFT, basically. So it's a free platform. You can be an issuer, you can be a collector of a POAP. But yeah, I just recently contracted. I actually just wrapped up week 3 of working for POAP. So super new. And it's an entry-level position. I am on the CS team, and I just help people figure out ways that they can create events, create drops, claim drops, and safe ways of doing it without their POAP collections or drops getting farmed. So yeah, that's that.
It's amazing.
And yeah, thank you. It's super exciting. In July of last year, 2021, I said out loud while I was working deliveries on Clubhouse, I said, guys, I have to find a way to monetize in this space. And it wasn't 6 months later, I had a job in the space. So they're obviously not, excuse me, not obviously, but honestly, the abundance of employment options, contracting positions, the abundance is so vast. It's so big. If anybody right now needs a job in the Web3 NFT spaces, it's easy to find. A lot of people need work. So need work and want help. So and I'm also working on a project called Poppables. It's a fun little project. I'm working directly, very intimately directly with the oh my God, what is the word? Contemporary fine artist, Bradley Hart. His medium is bubble wrap. He's been doing paint injecting bubble wrap for about a decade now, and he's very successful at it. So Poppables is not at the moment, I would say, a blue chip NFT project per se. It's more of his first NFT project on the blockchain. But Bradley Hart as an artist is blue chip. We are just having a fun time trying to find a way to make his art on the blockchain blue chip, because truly who he is he's a very fine artist and a very just a compassionate, creative, brilliant person. He's a very good person and a dear friend. So excuse me. He started Poppables, just a brief summary of it. He started Poppables in, let's see, July. The brainchild started, and then he got a dev, to start writing the contract, and then artists, and really getting his idea like into contract, writing it down and getting the art put together. And as he was doing this, he was learning. So he created a project that was going to kind of be an homage to the people that he learned from in Clubhouse, very similar to myself, but in a different community. But we were learning at the same time, different ways, different things. I was more degenning, and he was more daytime. And only when he wasn't, really doing his art in his studio, he was on Clubhouse with his friends. But he is taking 48 people that he learned from in Clubhouse and tipping his hat to them by featuring them on his Poppable Pass. So in November, he dropped phase 1 of Poppables. The mint function was extremely secured, so it made the gas prices more than double the cost of the NFT, the mint price. So there was that hiccup, along with when he wanted to drop on his birthday, ended up not wanting to. There were all these little tiny things that came up that just got in his way, along with he has always been an independent individual artist, doing and creating by himself. He tried to do a 10,021 NFT project, generative energy NFT project by himself. And it did not work.
That's a lot. Yeah.
So
Wow.
mid-December 2021, I met him. I had seen him around, but I didn't know who he was. In real life, for years now, I've known about the artist who does paint injection into bubble wrap. I've known about his art, didn't know who he was. Met him on Clubhouse and started a conversation. And now he and I have officially launched phase 2 of Poppables. We decreased the size from 10,021 to 2,022 total. There are 2 separate contracts involved, but it's still the same collection, same art, same participants that are featured on the Poppable Pass, and same paint splats. So the price is 0.05 to mint. The gas function, we are using new technology, so the gas function is, I think it's like 60% less to mint with gas fees. Gas fees are 60% less than what they were for the original phase 1 contract. And there's some massive amounts of utility involved in owning a Poppables Pass, whether it's from phase 1 or phase 2. So that just recently happened on Tuesday, a couple days ago, and super exciting about that. If you own a Bradley Hart NFT, you're really going to own a piece of history and really truly own a piece of art, because taking it from 10,021 down to 2,022, it limits the supply, obviously the scarcity. The rarities are going to change and to the whole project, and then it's a little bit more intimate. So so there's that. And then, like I said, the utility with this project is huge, and it's always evolving. We have merch to offer. We have rewards for collecting pairs and sets, and we have a little game that is going to be played. It's a little bit like a poker game, Texas Hold'em, in the Discord. So if you own a pass, you can play, and if you win, then you win rewards. One of the rewards for like the collections, the sets and pairs, and the collections, you actually might get a 1-of-1 derivative that Bradley puts together, that he designs and creates. So wow. That's just that much of the list of utilities that Bradley's willing to offer people that are holders of his Poppables Pass. That being said, he's also, very big news, he is going to be featured at the Bitcoin conference in NFT Miami in April as the featured artist on Diva. at the Bitcoin conference. So he's got a Bitcoin NFT coming out. He's got some one-of-ones on Maker's Place coming out. So really, if you own some Bradley Harts from his poppables, they're going to eventually, this is going to be an organic grow, an organic burn, I guess, because it took him 10 years to become who he is, selling in real life bubble wrap. It's going to take him a minute to get his feet under him in the NFT space and people to actually understand who he is. But so that's poppables. And like I said, he's a really good friend. So no matter what, in it, to the end. The other cool thing, this is the last bit, is that I am part of the NFT project team for the reggae artist Collie Buds. I built out his Discord and am a minor consultant, I guess you could say. So I built out the Discord and I'm in direct contact with the management team and part of the Collie Buds team. So
That's amazing.
We're about to do a soft launch of the Discord. Rumor has it the NFT project that Collie's coming out with will be dropping mid-March. So it's coming up, but that's alpha, and that's about all I can say about that. So
that's amazing.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for all that information. That was great stories, great experiences. Thank you so much for sharing. We went into how we got involved in the NFTs, how to do the research, the security. We touched on a little bit on what you see coming in the future. Obviously, that's hard to predict. We talked a little bit about the plug, about what, what the public thinks of NFTs. And then we also talked about what you're working on. So thank you very much for sharing all that. Is there anything else that you want to leave the viewers with?
At the end of the day, have fun. Trust yourself, have fun. Everybody can start over if they have to. Everything is a memory and everything's an experience. So enjoy it while you can.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. As long as it's true. There's no point, like the way I'm looking at it, there's no point of doing this if you're not going to have fun, right? Just like anything else. Yeah, it's so true.
So thank you for having me on, Mario. And thanks for being my friend.
No problem at all. Thank you for being here. I definitely appreciate it. Sorry, this is the part where I'm choking.
No, that's
I can. Okay. Whoa, did you hear that? Okay. All right. I don't even know how to start. Didn't even plan an intro, so I'm just gonna wing it. So my name is MarioNFTBusiness, and today I have Christi join with me. How are you, Christi?
Hi, Mario. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Lost you again. Your volume. No.